fun game between the two of us?
So this video, I'm basically going to go over my build for my Havoc Heartbreaks. That would be Camellya and Roccia. So with that being said, hey, let's get to it, guys.
Mamma mia! Avanti! Figurati!
These are my Roccia stats. This is pretty much where I'll start out with her. 2000 attack, 1200 defense, regen is at 141%, crit rate 76%, which is important. I'm going to talk to you about that a little later on, exactly why that's important. So stick with me. Crit damage 196%. All right, so first off, let's talk about the signature weapon. And I recommend that you get this signature weapon. I'm going to show you why. Basically, let's go ahead and max it out. The signature weapon, Tragic Comedy, the attack, it gives you 587 additional attack points. But the crit rate, 24.3%, is what's really important. She needs to get her crit rate up because that's one of the stats that really help her as a sub DPS to benefit her teammates. And you can also see here the heavy attack damage bonus increases by 96% for 3 seconds. So that's after an intro skill or a basic attack, which is pretty much easy to do because you're always going to use a basic attack before you perform the heavy attack. So that bonus is really good for her damage as a sub DPS. And I'll be honest with you, I keep her on the field a lot, even though she's a sub DPS. I like playing her, and I like her damage also. So, all right, so now look at the echoes. For the echo
The
set,
show begins.
you can either go Midnight Veil or Moonlit Clouds. As a sub DPS, I know sometimes when you build a sub DPS, everything about the sub DPS is for the main DPS character, which gives a lot of argument for gives a lot of argument for Moonlit Clouds. Moonlit Cloud is a very beneficial, still very relevant in the game. I know that Midnight Veil is taking a lot away from Moonlit Clouds. A lot of the resonators that are pretty much set up with a Moonlit Cloud set, people are switching over to Midnight Veil if possible. And I'm going to tell you, with Midnight Veil, one thing I really like about it is the Havoc damage bonus and basic attack damage bonus. You get that by equipping this Echo in the main slots. So Roccia gets this bonus just by having this Echo set equipped. You don't have to cast it. There's no part of the rotation where you have to cast the Echo to receive the benefit. So it really works out well for her. And you can also look down here at the Midnight Veil when you have all 5 equipped. Triggering the outro skill deals additional Havoc damage and grants the incoming resonator Havoc damage bonus. So this, if you have another Havoc type, along with Roccia's kit that's built in, this just is even more damage for the incoming resonator. If they're Havoc dealer, of course. If they're Havoc type, of course. So I recommend going ahead with Midnight Veil. You may lose a little benefit for the main DPS. However, I think you really get so much more benefit with Midnight Veil for Roccia that it makes up for everything. So I would definitely go with Midnight Veil. And as far as the substats goes, crit rate is your #1 priority, what you want to see. But this character, don't be upset if you see heavy attack damage bonus. And I know that sometimes we really frown on that with most characters, but most of her damage is considered heavy attack damage. So when you get any type of bonus on that, that's really going to give you a lot. And for the main 4-cost Echo, I'll go with crit rate. You want to get this extra crit rate to get her crit rate up even higher. Try to get 80% if you can. But if you want to get at least 70 for the maximum bonus that she can give her teammates. But crit rate is definitely your #1 substat that you want to look at. But heavy attack damage bonus is good. Crit damage is good. And those are the main 3 that I think you should look at. Energy regen is good also. But those are your 4 substats that you should look for. Okay, so the Forte circuit, your #1 priority is going to be this, the Forte circuit, Forte. And you want to get this up as high as possible first. And also I want you to look at this part of her Forte. After casting the outro skill, the incoming resonator's utility is replaced with Magic Box. So this gives the incoming resonator her resonance skill, which basically is great at grouping the enemy together. And if you have like a Camellya, this is really a good benefit. So I would go first for Forte, try to get this. I think this is very beneficial, so try to activate this also. So Forte, Resonance Liberation second, Resonance skill, and then normal attack and intro skill. So those are how the order that I would go with the Forte circuit. All right, so I talked to you earlier about how crit rate is important for Roccia. So let's look at her Resonance Liberation. Roccia's improvised comedy begins. Deal havoc damage to the target. Considered heavy attack damage like most of her attacks. But look at this. For every 0.1% of Roccia's crit rate over 50%, this skill increases the attack of all resonators in the team by 1 point for 30 seconds up to 200 seconds. Up to 200 points, I'm sorry. So basically when you perform her Resonance Liberation, and then as part of her kit, and her rotation, then you want to perform her outro skill, incoming resonator is going to get a 200 point boost from Roccia. And that's one more reason why I went with Midnight Veil instead of Moonlit Clouds, because Roccia just boosts Camellya or any Havoc resonator so much on her own. I mean, Moonlit Cloud is good, but however, this just shows you why I want her crit rate up, and why I think 70% I think is the magic number to get all 200 points. But if you get just go ahead and get over 70, get the crit rate as high as you can.
Struggle harder.
Now let's look at my Camellya. My Camellya may be a little different than the others because I went more for her basic attack than I did for crit rate or crit damage. As you can see here, her crit rate is really low, 36%. That's not great at all. But her attack at 2600 is pretty good, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and look at her signature weapon. It increases crit rate by 24.3% and gives her 587 attack. But it says here, when the wielder's concerto energy is consumed, gain 40% basic attack damage bonus for 10 seconds. It's going to be triggered once per second and ends when the wielder is switched off the field. So basically, you burn all of your concerto energy when you perform her E-skill. And this is going to be a great bonus for her. So I think this weapon is really good. It's not a must-have. She's still good without it. However, I would recommend getting it if you can. I know we can't roll for everything, but this really helps out Camellya for attack damage. All right, and let's look at her Echo set. I also went with Midnight Veil for Camellya. There's really no reason to not have Midnight Veil on her. The Havoc damage bonus and basic attack damage bonus are just great. The outro skill, if you bring back in Roccia, so it just gives Roccia a benefit if you do that. Not really her benefit, not really her thing to try to benefit others. I mean, Roccia is the sub DPS, so, but I think it really works well for both of these guys. For the full cost Echo, I went with attack instead of crit rate, because mainly when I play Camellya, more than often I'm just running her basic attacks and extended basic attacks. So attack damage, the attack really works better for her the way that I play her. And that's not saying that you can't just run crit rate here. There's no problem with that at all. But as far as the substats, crit rate, crit damage, and basic attack, anything, those three are really her best. Resonance skill bonus, damage bonus is not bad also, because her resonance skill, once her concerto energy is filled, is really damaging. She can do quite a few things with that. It's pretty good. And I use Havoc damage bonus for both my 3-cost Echoes and attack for both my 1-cost Echoes. So I would recommend Midnight Veil for her. I think it's the best set for any Havoc right now. If they're not a sub DPS, I think this is really the best for her. So, all right. Let's look at her Forte circuit. In her Forte circuit is the #1 priority. Again, I activated the top part of this is increased resistance to interruption because her combos are so long. I think this helps. It's really not going to stop you against the bigger bosses, but I think it's good. Next, I went for resonance skill. Then I went for normal attack. With that being, I wanted her attack to be raised, so her basic attack is as high as possible. Then resonance liberation and intro skill. As you can see, I don't have any of them maxed out, but that's the order I would go in. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not going to go into Shorekeeper. I mean, we know Shorekeeper, and I've got another video on kind of how to use Shorekeeper. Other than that, if you have any questions, let me know. Anything you want me to see. Hey, guys. Yes, I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you can. Constructive criticism is always welcome. Hey, I love you guys. Take it easy.